Welcome to the Flooring 101 podcast. I'm Jason Jabara. This show is dedicated to helping flooring retailers build better businesses through proven systems for sales, operations, marketing, and leadership. In this episode of Flooring 101, we go one-on-one with Reagan Echols of IQ Floors in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This episode features a conversation with an industry expert and successful flooring professional who shares real-world insights you can use to grow your business and increase profitability. Thanks for listening, and let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Flooring 101 podcast. I'm your host, Jason Jabara, and the intent of the Flooring 101 podcast is to help dealers all across the country start, run, and scale profitable flooring businesses through proven operations of sales and marketing. And today, my guest is my good friend, Reagan Echols with IQ Floors in Colorado Springs. How are you doing today, Reagan?
Oh, it's a great day out here in Colorado. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business out there?
Yeah, I started this little experiment about 22 years ago. So I own IQ Floors in Colorado Springs. It's about an hour south of Denver. And little family owned, family run um, business and doing very well. Got a lot of good things going for us. One being that I've got Amelia in the office right now working, my oldest daughter. So yeah,
Work
it's a
as
fun
early
little
as
experiment.
possible. Yeah.
You
So
you know,
have
I,
you,
go ahead.
go ahead. Well, I was just saying, for if you've had it for like 22 years, it's about time you start getting the family involved, right?
Yeah, so I was about to say, like I ran out to do a measure about an hour ago, and on the way back, um, the office calls and goes, "Hey, Amelia, she cut her finger and it's really bad." And in my mind, I'm like going, because she loves to drive the forklift, she loves to do the cutting machine, and I'm like, I probably didn't tell her not to touch the blade on the carpet machine because that thing
Oh
that's
yeah,
sharp. And I could
sure.
just see like in my mind, half of her finger is falling off, and I said, "What was she doing?" Well, she was cutting a bagel, and I'm like, "Oh boy, all right."
You got to
So
keep them out of the break room if they're on company time.
I had to tell her, I'm like, "Look, we don't have family doesn't get workman's comp. Like that's
No,
so
they get
yeah."
paid under the table. That's how I do it.
Yep. She's going to school.
So in 22 years, have you seen a lot of changes in the Colorado Springs area, like with your market? What has it been like the past year to 2 years?
There was quite a bit of attrition a few years ago. Um, right now, it's not a very saturated market. Um, there's a few really good stores,
Mm-hmm.
and a few very very small ones, and then there's the big players. That's
Right.
been, I'd say, in the last few years has been it was the strength, and now it's the challenge that the big players, the Floor and Decor, came in just a couple of miles away. Um, we lost Lumber Liquidators; they went out, but uh, those are taking a little bit more of their fair share, I would say. Um, but it's a good opportunity for guys like me. If you're agile, we're doing pretty well with our structure. Um,
Right.
so it's a great town. It's still a booming town.
Still growing and growing.
Yep, yep.
Well, if you're growing, you're gonna continue to track the big boys. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're trying to stay one step ahead of them.
Yeah.
Um, the floor decor has been interesting. We've never really had a lot of customers come in and say, "Oh, I was over at this store, or I was at Home Depot or Lowe's." But a very large percentage of them come in and say, "I was at, Floor and Decor." So they are specifically starting there, and fortunately, they're either not getting the help or they're not finding the
Mhm.
product, and so fortunately, they're going elsewhere. They're shopping Floor and Decor, um, and so we can capitalize on that. If we're given the chance, we're going to win.
Right.
Um, we just have to hope that that trend continues and Floor and Decor doesn't get smarter at what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, I know a dealer on the East Coast who mainly sells carpet, and he's got several stores. And if he has a Floor and Decor open up near him, he tries to move his store because he only sells carpet, and he tries to get as close to as possible to him because they don't sell any carpet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you've got to start to, you know, you got to make sure that those guys, those customers that are buying carpet on a regular basis, you've got to get your samples, your hard surface samples in front of their face and really push it. I mean, I went to a contractor's house the other day for his own house. He asked me to come in to measure for some carpet. And when I showed up, I saw the boxes from Floor and Decor. He already purchased a hard surface from them. I've known this guy for 20 years.
Yeah.
So it was a slap in the face, but it was also the wake up call that like I got to do a better job at, if these guys are showing up for carpet, I got to get there first with that sample.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, I mean that hurts when somebody that they're only coming to you for carpet when you sell it all. But
Yeah. I'll
we'll
have
get
friends.
better.
I'll have friends post online a picture of something. I go, "Hey man, where did you get that?" They're like, "Oh, I didn't want to bother you." It's like that's the
Oh
whole
yeah,
point of my job. Like that's what I
yeah,
do every day. You're not bothering me. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed
yeah,
to do.
yeah,
You should be calling. So,
yeah, yeah.
and you're mainly what kind of mix do you have between residential replacement, commercial, multifamily? What are you guys mainly into?
Residential replacement is definitely our sweet spot.
Hmm.
Um, we do a little bit up to the trade. We do a little bit of Main Street commercial, but it's got to be the right size. I mean, I'm one of those guys where there's nothing worse than doing a big commercial job and waiting 90 days or 120 days for money.
Oh yeah,
So I don't quite get along with carrying that with those guys. Um, and and the majority is carpet. I mean, we're probably 70% carpet.
and that's against the norm. I mean, most of the country's 70-30 hard surface.
Yeah, I think one, we're doing a really good job at it, but two, if you think in terms of basements out here, everybody wants hard surface, and I show
Hmm.
up, and once they get the bid for the prep, they're going, "Oh, I should just do carpet. It's warmer, it's quieter, it's softer." So so part of that's just the geography of basements.
Yeah.
And
And not
carpet is
everybody has. I
it's
mean, we have basements here, but if you're in Oklahoma, there are no basements. If you're in Texas, there
right,
are no basements.
right,
So,
right. And I think carpet's come a long way. It's kind of having a little bit of a resurgence.
oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, we like it.
So you talked about Floor and Decor and some of the other, you know, big players that could be in your area. Do you think that the customers nowadays are shopping more stores before they're buying, or do you think they're just doing it online and going to one or two stores?
Um, with Floor and Decor, once they're really heavy with advertising when the store is built.
Hmm.
And then they kind of quit advertising. Well, I don't see the TV commercials, I don't hear any ads. It's just kind of they put that footprint out and it's prime visibility. I mean, it's got a lot of traffic driving by it every single day, and so I think they just rely on that and they rely on the fact that they're open late and open on the weekends.
Right.
Um, so people just know, and they are doing a really good job at getting in front of the trade. So contractors know how to go there and grab products and throw it on the back of their truck. So I think those a lot of those consumers are shopping after they start there. For our customer, if if we can get in front of them, whether we're the first or the last, we're going to win. We've got a really good close rate.
Right.
Um,
And why do you think that is?
um,
Charming personality?
absolutely. I was trying not to say that on the podcast, but um, we participate in the design. We do a really good job at the measuring. So we're kind of solving all of their problems. I mean, we're asking people what's keeping them up at night, and let us help you make this process easier. And and we're a different store. I don't pay commission, so we're kind of built with this team service
Hmm.
mentality to where it's a very friendly, start to end order of operations. It's just very friendly.
Yeah.
Um,
Do
so,
you think the customer has like changed in the last 5 to 10 years, or do you just think that the customer is the same, but as retailers, we're just able to adapt with the environment that's around us?
well, I think both. I mean, I think, the consumer, Amazon changed the consumer to
Hmm.
where their expectations are they want to look at a product, put it in their cart, and they don't even want to wait. If you go on Amazon right now and you need to buy a pair of shoelaces and it says, oh, it's going to get to you next Tuesday, you're going to say, well, wait, I'm going to look for another product. They've
Right.
trained us to be so instant gratification. And the and my typical consumer um, really doesn't know, they don't know flooring. They've
Hmm.
read a couple of articles and they come in and I just say, you got to forget everything that you read online, unless it's your book. And let's start over. Um, and they are very quick to realize that I'm right, that they don't know enough to make a good decision. Um, and so if I can explain that in a friendly way, that you know what little they do know is gonna cost them a lot in the end because they're gonna make a bad decision, but that I will hold their hand and help them make a good decision. They just are like going, okay, just pick the product for me, Reagan.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps. I mean, if I go into a steakhouse right now, I do want to know, like, what's the chef special? What's he recommend? And just bring it to
Don't
me.
get the
I
don't get the chicken.
don't get the chicken. And I don't
Yeah,
want
but
to look at the menu.
you're in a steakhouse.
Yeah, I don't want to look at the menu.
Yeah.
This is Colorado. I'm not going to order fish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be the right occasion. But we're
Yeah.
landlocked.
Well, I mean, I think because of just the internet and all of the social media and the amount of information that's out there, I mean, I think customers are probably going into less stores now. So instead of going to 4 or 5 and price shopping all over the place, they may go into one or two, and they think that they're armed with all of this information. But if they're met with a friendly environment, a warm environment, an enticing environment who can really give them the education, if you can get them from walking out the door, you've probably got them at that point.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, it's so fast paced that they don't want they don't want to shop you at all. They don't want to go to two stores because for a lot of stores, it's a painful process. They don't
Hmm.
want to do it twice. Um, for us, we flipped the script years ago to where, and COVID really helped us get away with this. We require that I go to their house before they come into the store.
Yeah.
So when I go to their store, I am able to see, I'm looking for the problems that they have that they don't even know they have. So when they come in the store and they're saying, what products are you going to show us today? I'm saying, well, I noticed you got a lot of red wine. You got a drinking problem, but I got a carpet that's going to solve it. So here's a red carpet that it's going to clean really well. So I'm taking the opportunity away to consider an alternative.
Yeah.
I've just the script is just done to where when they come into the store, we've already, there's no more variables other than the product. We know the square footage, we know the labor costs. So when they say, how much is this carpet? I can say the bottom line. I can say it's $8,000. And then they're saying, well, how soon can you install it? Versus they come in the store and they look at a product in here. And I know I can get away with this with my size. A lot of big stores can't do this, but you know, if a stranger comes into the store and points at a product and says, how much is it? And I have to say, well, it's $3 a square foot. That really tells them nothing.
Yeah.
Then they
We
can
have
go
no
to
idea what that
they
means.
right, and then they can go to the next store and say, well, hey, I saw this product over at Reagan's for 319, but what's your price? They still don't know anything. So for me, it just was a more efficient order of operations because I don't want to waste time showing, a carpet to a customer, and then I go out to their house and realize, oh man, we spent an hour picking that carpet, but now that I'm in your house, I realize this is the wrong carpet. We just wasted an
Right.
hour. So flipping the script, so, we just tell people it's doing it backwards. That really helps us get the the close rate that we have.
So if they come into the store just shopping on Main Street, and they come into the store and they start looking around. I mean, you'll let them look around, but you're not really messing with any products. You're setting up a measurement at that point,
That's
doing
the
it in
goal.
home.
Yep.
Okay,
We have one
and
objective.
that's
If
something how long have you been doing that?
Well, with COVID, I mean, obviously the first thing we did with COVID was by appointment only.
Yep.
Um, and we realized we started doing it and we were like, oh man, this saves a lot of time. And so if a customer walks in right now and says, hey, I was just driving by, yeah, there's a sign on the door that says, appointments preferred, but if you're here, come on in. So if
Mm-hmm.
they come in, we're gonna show them some products and we're gonna talk, but I do explain to them this could be a very big waste of their time and my time. And I'll give them some illustrations. We'll talk about um, traffic patterns, colors, price points, all that stuff that I want to participate in. If I can get to their house first, all the better. And so they kind of their mind is sort of like going, it's open to like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. That seems like a better way to do it. And and so then it's like, well, let's put you on the calendar. I'll come out and measure. It takes 10 minutes, and then I'll invite you in. The nice thing is those people that come in thinking that a vinyl plank is going to be $1 a square foot installed because they saw some TV commercial for a box store. When I get to the house, it's a 10-minute drive. It's a 5-minute measure. I can give them a ballpark that is pretty accurate. And so I can say right then and there, hey, you're I'm going to give you a budget of about $7,500. If they say, well, man, we were thinking it was going to be 1,500, I don't have to invite them into the store.
Right.
You know, no harm, no foul. Like we don't need to waste another moment in this relationship. Like it's concluded, and it's a polite. I'm kind of
Yeah, you're
I
saving
sound
them
like a
time.
I
You're
sound like a
saving
jerk.
yourself time. Yeah.
But it's like it's giving them the data that they needed to make a good decision. They're not ready for that purchase, or they need to think about carpet. Even carpet may, blow their budget. But that's the um, that's the benefit of going, sort of backwards. It's really getting to know them so that I can say, hey, I noticed you've got a sliding glass door and you got direct heat coming in. You you don't need that WPC. You need an SPC.
Yeah.
And it's solving problems before they're problems.
That's good. So
Yeah.
take note, flooring dealers, flip that script, get out to their house first, and then take care of the headaches before they show up inside your showroom. So, speaking of headaches, what operations, executions, the challenges with that? What are your biggest headaches right now in the flooring industry?
Um, wow, the biggest headaches. I mean, I know everybody's going to talk about the installer shortage.
That's one
And
headache that I don't have. I got lots of other headaches, but that's not one of them right now. So,
yeah, well, we've been crushing it. So we've kind of been busy. And so I think last week and this week we were starting to think, should we find another crew or two? That's probably the typical answer you get on the street. For me, it's running pretty smoothly right now. I'm gonna knock on wood as I say this, um, but we've got a good thing going. We're not advertising right now, so we're saving quite a bit of money there. Um, I spent a lot of time in the warehouse.
hmm
When I met with my bookkeeper a little while ago, she was like, "You're getting nickel and dimed to death." And so I kind of looked at it and I'm like going, well, yeah, every time we get this distributor that brings us pad, this is one of the headaches that I've solved. So this is the headache, and this is what I saw and how I solved it. But they went from like $35 a delivery fee to they're about $175 right now. And
Right.
and because they've got a delivery fee, a fuel surcharge, and some like invoice logistics charge. I mean, it's stupid. But that's what she was talking about is, unless you are taking that cost and factoring it into your invoicing, which is difficult. So I saw that, and then I went into the warehouse and I said, okay, well, where's our wasted space in the warehouse? And on pad on that one delivery from the distributor, I basically looked at my racking system and I said, I bet I can get another almost 80 rolls of pad at a time. So I lifted up these beams, I expanded that area, and basically, I called the distributor and I said, look, I'm going to order more pad at a time. So instead of a truck a week, I'm going to hope to get a truck every 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And and then I said, and you better send two guys on that truck. So um, so we did that. That actually was, we turned the negative into a positive. I mean, obviously we're getting less trucks. There's less, you know, um, the doors open less times in the warehouse.
Right. Less trucks,
And
less fees, and you can spread out those fees over more rolls, and that's pennies add up over time, and a lot of people don't pay attention, especially if you're in a smaller operation. You may not pay attention to those pennies, but they add up over a year pretty significantly.
yeah, this is going to be, I mean, you think about $300 savings a month,
Yeah.
that's $3,600. So
Yeah.
in a year, that's pretty good. And I just kind of expanded. I went around the rest of the warehouse and I'm like going, because I have to pay I do keep some inventory in Denver, some carpet inventory. And after 60 days, they charge me about $20 a roll. I did the same thing on the carpet side. I looked at the size of the rolls that we've got and the shelf space that they go on, and I'm like, well, man, if we could just lower some of these beams and raise others, and then order a certain size of carpet, we're gonna have less wasted space on the shelf. And I bet we can add 12 to 15 rolls of carpet inside the warehouse. Well,
The same
but
space that you're already renting.
yeah, exactly. So you do the math, you're just saving $20 a roll at a time. And I threw away a lot of the old inventory, the well aging inventory. If there was just crappy remnants, it was like, hey, let's clear that space out. Let's make that shelf useful again. And yeah, that carpet, that remnant, maybe we were going to sell it for $100. But if I can bring a roll down from Denver and not pay that, it just made sense to make the warehouse more efficient. And I think that's kind of I don't think enough people audit their warehouse space.
Right.
And that's going to be a big savings for me. So that was one of the headaches that I had where I saw the problem and then I solved the problem. And now, I mean, the office was like going, quit tooting your own horn because I just wanted to show everybody, I'm coming to the office. I'm like going, hey, you got to come look and see what I did today.
Look at
Um,
this.
yeah, you're going to be so proud of me. They weren't.
That's
Hopefully
pretty good.
maybe the bookkeeper applauds me, but
So
yeah.
you said you're not doing any advertising right now, right? Or no traditional advertising or none.
Um, I think we're doing a little bit on Roombo, but honestly, I don't think it's much. I think
So not a
I
lot of social media marketing, no paid
none. I mean,
ads, no that kind of
w
stuff.
when we've been a little too busy, and so it's pretty easy to scale it all back when you're busy. Maybe this fall we turn it back on, but our commercials are, my daughters they starred in all the commercials. They dressed up like Rosie the Riveter, and from an early age, and so they pretend to be installers.
Hmm.
And so all of our TV commercials were built around that family business, family owned business, and they were just this huge hit that but it was a lot of work. And when Amelia went to college, it was kind of like let's just pause it. And that was about a year and a half ago. I get customers that come in all the time and say, I love your commercials. And I'm like, Well, that's a pretty lasting um, brand that they haven't been on TV for a year and a half, but people still think they are.
Oh yeah.
Um, so we'll probably. I was just talking to Amelia about maybe doing another one for the holidays, like because the last one that we did was a picture of a floor and it had a suitcase on it, and it basically was the send off for Amelia going to college. Like, it was a tearjerker. Um, and so we need to have it in the reverse, where she's, coming home for the holidays or something like that. But um, the best one, which got me all the hate mail and put us on the map. You remember the Friends episode of the pivot?
Yeah.
You got Ross. He's just yelling this word pivot as they're moving this couch up this stairwell. Well, I had the two girls on each side of a couch or a table, and I had Charlotte, the youngest, on the middle of this table. And the whole commercial, I mean, we don't talk about flooring at all, other than it says we move furniture. But Charlotte's in the middle of this table being carried, and she's just yelling the word pivot. Well, if you watched Friends, fortunately everybody did. If you watched Friends, you loved it. This was a home run of an ad campaign that even the local newspaper, they did an article about it. I mean, it was this big of a deal. But if you didn't watch Friends, you just saw this little girl yelling at her sisters to move the furniture and yelling pivot. I got hate mail, Jason. Like, it was emails, it was phone calls, it was like 90-year-old grandmothers like calling me up to say, I don't know what kind of a parent that girl is, has, but you got to raise her better. It was I almost pulled it. Um, but then we got a lot of love out of it too. So
So you need to take your youngest daughter and just, if you don't have them or haven't been using them, just let her run Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. She can cut up all of your old commercials. She can put them on YouTube Shorts, and you can pay her whatever you want and let her just run with it because they know more than we do about any of that stuff.
oh, they do. And they've got the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you're
they're on
right. I
their
mean,
phone. They're on their phone already that you're paying for.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, we started doing YouTube commercials. I mean, the girls were, it was probably 15, 16 years ago. So we have all that content. So great idea. Just put them to
yeah,
work, and
start cutting it up.
yeah, they're already
Um,
getting paid. They might as well do some work.
in the for like the general retailer, and I don't want to keep you too much longer, but for the general retailer, what are some of the biggest mistakes or hard lessons? Like, are there mistakes that you see retailers making over and over again, and you just keep going? Why aren't you doing this differently? Why are
Yeah.
you trying to learn the hard way?
Um, Saying no to vendors is difficult.
Yeah, like you don't need everything in your
You do
showroom,
not need everything. In fact,
and
it
your
is
showroom's a
going
perfect example of that.
right, right. We are very streamlined. That 80/20 rule where you're only going to sell 20% of your products. To me, it is laughable. I mean, I do think it's like 95/5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you were to focus on what is profitable for you, what makes you seem like you are extremely proficient, the number is 5. And so we spent a lot of time, in the showroom saying, if it's not a product we're going to stand behind, get it out of here.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to cut your showroom to make it to where um, it's a more presentable experience. It's more easier to the consumers to find the right product. When Maggie came in looking for a rug, she said, it's overwhelming. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that was years ago. That was another problem that we had. And so we built our own displays, and they are high-end cabinet quality displays that don't have a brand on them. It does not say the manufacturer. We, I refer to it as a marriage of hard surface and soft surface. So in these displays, you show a carpet seeming right up next to a hard surface. That's how consumers are shopping. They want to see a warm color laminate next to a warm color carpet, and maybe a pattern carpet that's going to be a rug on top of it. So we kind of we addressed the showroom in a way that made it easier for consumers to be quicker about their decision. They can come in, see a display, and say, "Wow, that's everything right there." So I think trying to be the vanity of a big showroom, the vanity of having everything, all of the options, because sooner or later, a customer is going to come in and say, "Well, I'm looking for a certain shade of blue." You're not going to have it. I'm not going to have it. I mean, and that's okay. I'm not going to
Right.
try and please everybody. It's it's more profitable for me to focus on my customer, and we call them our people, versus trying to please that one consumer who wants that one shade of teal. I'm going to let that one go
Yeah.
because it makes the other ones just that much more easier to please.
But in your process, by kind of doing it backwards, if you've already been to the home, you've already
True.
done the measurement, you already know what their aesthetic is kind of like. By the time they get in, they don't need 100 choices. And
Right.
as a retailer, I really don't think there's much difference between Carpet Company 1 and Carpet Company 2, Hardwood 1. It's all the same to me. It really is when you get down to it. The warranties are the same. They may have different colors, but other than that, they're all the same. So if you've streamlined that, you already know what they want, you already know what they need. Now you can just show them one or two options instead of having this overwhelming showroom of 10 different carpet companies or 20 different tile companies that they got to pick through.
Right. So, for me, if I want to show them X, if I'm in the house and I'm like going, and a lot of times it's a carpet that I stock, but let's just say it's the Shaw color wall. I will have I'll have samples ready for them. If it's a Tough Tex, product, I might order right then and there from the time I measure. I might order them a little 9 by 9 sample. When they come in, they're looking at the big sample, but then I got their take home sample for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've narrowed it down for them, one for time, but also to keep it from being overwhelming. But you're right. It's We've gone from 80/20 to 99/1. They
Yeah.
come in and I'm like going, boy, I gave this a lot of thought, and here is the perfect carpet for you. And I name their dogs. I'm like, how your little Scottish terrier, pissed on the wall. What was his name? Ruffles. Well, this carpet is Ruffles proof. I won't say pet proof. I'll be specific to their pet, or I'll mention, the kids, the grandkids. So then I'm saying this is the carpet that you need for your house, and it's kind of it's an easy process.
Yeah.
So but I do think dealers, they have a hard time saying no to manufacturers. They just want every I did for a long time. They want every display. And it turns into a very crowded showroom, a very overwhelming process. Um, so say no to the vendors.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything you bring in your showroom should have a specific purpose. You don't need everything. You only need the things that you do. And yeah, I think showrooms get way too overcrowded. So,
Yeah. And be more efficient with not more efficient, but I'd also say have a better we prioritize time over everything. So, a lot of times businesses, their big metrics is like, how profitable are we? How much are we making? What's our profit overall? What's our job, costing? And we get very tied to the number of or to the value in terms of profit, which is important. But I think a lot of people should step back and say, you know, how much time do am I making? And and then I think you look at your own script a little bit differently, and you start um I think customers respond to it when they see a very efficient system
hmm
and that you're trying to save them time. I think they respond a little bit differently. And again, it's all to make the whole process easier for them and for you.
and and you have systems in place. It's not just how you do things. You have systems in place and processes that you follow that allow you to be successful. You're not just winging it every day out of just sheer I've been doing this for 25 years.
Right. I think sometimes the system came from winging it, where it was like, hey, let's try doing this. In the beginning, we just tried closing at 4 o'clock every day. And I didn't think it was going to work. And we started doing it. It was like, oh, this is going to work. Let's create a system that makes it work. And then we were like, oh, let's try at 3 o'clock. And it worked. Well, let's build that foundation to make sure it's sustainable. And then when we got to 2 o'clock every day, so we closed the store at 2 o'clock every day, we had to make sure that the system was in place, that consumers knew why, that you know we know what to do if a customer shows up afterwards. We know how to handle the phone calls. Um, so sometimes it kind of came from, we're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it's done, and then we're building the process or the system. But yeah, we have a script. Um, we it's a very efficient system that is like, we're pretty proud of it. Like I said, I can't wait to show you the warehouse. You got a couple minutes? I'll put you on FaceTime. We'll go back there right now. Somebody's got to applaud me. Um, but everything from the samples to the displays, to trying to show our brand versus trying to show a manufacturer's brand. We're
Right.
we're very careful with our process.
Yeah. You're doing everything with intent and with purpose behind it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you long, so because I want to see that warehouse. So you ready for a quick rapid fire?
Do it.
All right. 5 questions. Here we go. One thing that you would fix in the industry overnight.
The I would break down the role of the territory manager or the sales rep on the manufacturing side, so they've got a better understanding that we of what the retailer actually needs.
So
I don't know
more
how
of them.
no, well, no. I mean, again, I'm efficient. I
Right.
probably have I probably have one TM to every seven that you have.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm guessing, but like that's just how we've structured it. Um, but no, I mean, I think, and this isn't a rapid fire, but like, if you ask a TM, now I've got great TMs. I know, I'm sure you do too, but like,
Yeah.
you ask a lot of them, or you ask the manufacturer, what's the most important, role of a territory manager? What do you think their answer is going to be?
Sell.
So yeah, I was going to say answer the phone, because that's a lot of times they're just like, oh, answer the phone, and I'm like going, that's
Well, I
it's
don't know if
in
it's
in golf.
necessarily answer the phone all the time, but it's answer my text messages,
Oh, I
answer my
just lost you. Are
emails,
you there?
uh, answer everything else
I'm
that
gonna
I have.
screenshot your
They,
face right
they,
now
they
because you
definitely
just
have to do
froze.
that when they're talking to me. They've got to
Well,
answer
you're coming.
everything
You're coming
that
back.
when I have questions for them. They've got to make sure that they are readily available. But I
Are
know
you
when they
back?
talk to their bosses, it's pretty much go in there and make sure
There
that
you
you
are.
sell them
Okay,
something.
you're back
I was
now.
just,
Sorry.
yep, I was answering it for you about the answering the phones part.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big misunderstanding between how, how the manufacturers see the role of a territory manager and what the real need is
Right.
from the retailer. And I think it's a big disconnect. So I know that's not a rapid fire answer. So go to number two, and then we'll
That's a good
follow up
answer,
on that
though.
on next podcast.
Most underrated profit lever that you have to increase profit that maybe somebody may not use.
Um, well, inventory. If you do inventory right,
Yeah.
it's profitable.
And
Flipping the
you
script
can't
becomes
just
very profitable.
yeah, and you can't just buy a pallet. I mean, you've got to invest in inventory.
It is a long game.
Yeah.
You're not buying a roll of carpet. You're buying. You've got to you've got to have that operation down, because a remnant will kill you. A remnant will
Oh
be
yeah.
all of your profit. So you gotta know what you're doing, and you got to be very careful about your selection process.
Best advice for a new store owner.
Um, Accounting trumps everything. You have to have um, you need to be proficient in accounting more than you need to be proficient in carpet fibers or vinyl composition.
Yeah.
Accounting is going to be what makes or break a lot of stores.
So, one metric every retailer should be tracking.
Uh, Happiness,
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah.
And just real quick, like I don't know rapid fire, but I was talking to another really big retailer, top 100 retailer, and the guy won't, he can't take a day off if he doesn't have, he can't be separated from his phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's, you're doing everything right, but if you can't get away, you're, the one thing you're doing wrong is the most important thing. We're doing this for, obviously there's some financial freedoms involved in owning your own business, but I think what trumps that uh, is the time that you get to do what you really, really want to do.
Yeah.
So happiness. I don't think we talk enough about being healthy, as a country, but dealers struggle you know, with being healthy, with getting away from the office. So
Make your business work for you, don't work for your business.
absolutely, or work for your business, but find a way to, leave it at the office, and go be happy. It's 2:03. I don't know if you saw the lights turning off in
I
the
can see the
showroom,
lights turn off.
but you got time for one more question.
All right. Biggest myth about the flooring business.
Oh, wow. What are the other answers you get to that question? Biggest myth. Um, that it's a good old boys club.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know if that's true. I mean, I love our industry, and we do talk to our consumers about being good stewards of not just our business, but of the industry.
Hmm.
Um, and it's, I think, you'll get this because you've got the family legacy, but I put my name on the front door. So when customers walk in, they see the name on the door. And there's actually a joke to it, but my daughter's name is on the door too. And so you get to see that family side of it, but it does say, it's got Krista as boss number one, it's got Amelia as boss number two, and then it lists, everybody that works here, and then at the bottom it says Reagan, and it just says bossed around.
Bossed
So I'm not
around.
boss
Yeah.
number two, I'm bossed around. And so I don't know if it's the myth, but I think it's the probably like a lot of businesses and a lot of industry, you overlook the fact that there are real people working there,
Yeah.
and um it's a great industry to be
Yeah.
in. There's a lot of great, my competition, there's a lot of great competition in town. I know they would help me. I sell flooring to a lot of them, when
Yep.
they need it. um but yeah, that's probably the one answer. I feel like I knocked this out of the park until that one was tough. You should have given me a heads up on that one. That was a tough
I did
question.
give you a heads up.
If I were to turn this back on you, what would you say? What's the biggest myth? Because I don't even know what a myth of our industry is.
For what I think everybody, you said it's not, but in my town, it seems like the flooring is as saturated as car washes, mattress stores, and chicken joints right now. So there must be some myth out there that it's easy and that everybody can do it.
Ah,
Uh, I'm a contractor. I can sell floors. I'm in this trade. I could sell floors. Even if you work in the flooring industry in a different capacity, you're a rep, you're a TM, you work for a manufacturer. Do you think, well, I can open up a retail store? If the guys that I sell to could do it, I can probably do it, and it's just not that easy.
yeah, I think so. What is sheltering me there is the cost of entry out here is
Yeah.
very expensive.
Oh yeah.
Now you do have some uh some painting companies have turned to flooring
Oh yeah.
they're doing flooring overnight.
Yeah.
And I blame vinyl plank for that because they created a product that fits in the back of a truck that you don't need a you know, a lot of education to sell. And
Hmm.
but those companies, for the most part, are here today, gone tomorrow. They
Yeah.
are they pop up and they disappear. Um, which is not good for our industry. But there's no real answer to that problem just yet. So,
Be good stewards. That's the answer. I mean,
yep.
that's when we try and collect money, or if we try and collect it up front, and they say, well, what if you don't show up? I was like, my building's been here for 56 years. I'm not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
there's some other trades out there that they're here today and gone tomorrow, and they all drive $100,000 trucks and don't have a
Yeah.
storefront. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where it is very nice to say, I don't know if you saw it, but my name's on the door. I'm
Yeah,
not going anywhere,
and I say
and
that a lot too.
yeah,
Yeah. So.
yeah, you got to put your feet down. You got to be grounded, and then you got to tell your consumers, hey, we are playing an active role in the community. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. So yeah.
Trusted advisor in the community. That's certainly a positive.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right, buddy. Well, I appreciate everything. I don't want to keep you too long. I'm sure you've got a golf game to get to. So,
Yeah. I
uh,
do have a tea time. This was fun though. You call me anytime. I'll do this
yeah.
again.
So, if anybody listening is down in the Colorado Springs neighborhood, make sure you should go see Reagan Echols at IQ Floors. He's been there for over 25 years, and like he said, he's not going anywhere. We'll catch you
I
guys
close
next
it.
time.
I close at 2, and they need an appointment.
They need what? You still there? Oh, yeah, they need an appointment. Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you for listening to the Flooring 101 podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another flooring professional who could benefit from it. Remember, great flooring businesses aren't built by chance, they're built through systems, leadership, and consistent execution. Until next time, keep learning, keep improving, and keep building a better business.